We're a couple of days away from crowning the winner of season 18 of Drag Race, and this has to be the most unpredictable season in the show's history. We started the season off with clear frontrunners in Jane and Nini, as well as Mia and Vita, who were being presented as maybe the main baddies of the season, while the edit focused on Athena and Juicy as well, and Juicy's growth in all of that. But now we're in the finale, and our top three are Myki, who was a non-presence in the first half of the season, Darlene, who is maybe the biggest surprise of the season, and Nini, whose stock dropped heavily in the last three episodes, but who shone in episodes where Myki and Darlene simply felt like extras. Before we continue with the video, if you would like to further support the channel, other than liking the video, commenting and subscribing, you can also become a member of the channel. Since this season is very specific, and I am 100% convinced it is because they had to change up the challenge order for whatever reason, we do have to disregard the first thing that I always look at when guessing this stuff, and that I actually mentioned in my predicting the winner video a couple of weeks ago. All previous Drag Race winners have a win in the first 4 episodes of their seasons, except for Jinx, who got her first win in episode 5. From this top 3, only Nini has a win in the first 4 episodes. However, I would not discredit Myki and Darlene here, since again, the challenge order in this season was very clearly switched around. I will probably do a video on it once the season is over, though I did mention some of my theories in my reviews of the episodes of the season. Due to the fact that the challenge order may have been changed, therefore the episode order as well, we don't really have to look at the win in the first 4 episodes rule, I guess, as gospel. However, I still stand behind the fact that a winner should not have been in the bottom 2 more than once in a season, save for filler episodes. Therefore, I would right away disqualify Nini from being eligible to win the crown. However, I will still consider her when we look at the 3 categories of who had the best track record, who was number 1 in ranking the most times, and who had the best storyline. The first category is very simple. Queens earn points each week based on this point system that I have been using for almost a decade now, and at the end of the season, one of them will have the best track record, meaning the most points, or the best average score per episode. In the case of season 18's top 3, Nini is last here, having earned 39 points. She's behind the queen in the second place, who earned 6 points more than her, who in turn is 6 points behind the queen with the best track record this season, and that queen is Myki Meeks, who finished the season with 51 points total and a PP score of 3.923076 recurring. Myki takes the first category. Now, it's lovely and great to be the best at the end, but to me, something that's more important is being consistently good. And that's why we have the second category here. Here we'll look at the ranking every week, and we see who was number 1 most times in the season, because every episode, one queen will have the most points, so she will be number 1. 3 different queens have been number 1 in an episode throughout the season. 2 of them did it once, although we could say twice, I'll explain why later, and the other one was the best in 11 episodes. Of course, Nini and Myki are the 2 queens with 1 number 1 ranking each. For Nini, it was episode 1. In episode 2, she tied the queen in the first place here, but I'm not going to count it because of the weird format of episode 1 and the nightmare of having to fit that into the 0 to 5 point system.
But why don't you just use 0 to 10 or say 4.5?
Because I made an entire video on that. If you're going to steal from me, at least steal well. Same goes for Myki. Her solo number 1 placement came in episode 14, while she shared episode 13's top spot with the queen in number 1, while number 1 here for this category, Jane don't. I mean, you knew it was going to be Jane, but let's just focus on Darlene, Myki, and Nini here. So once we isolate their track records, we see that Nini is before Myki and Darlene for 11 competitive episodes, and she's only taken over by the 2 in episode 12. Technically, it is Nini who wins this category. However, Myki's streak of 8 high placements and, let's be real, an unjust bottom 2 placement in episodes 5 and 6 is very commendable. And we could say that Myki does also kind of technically take this one. Nini was just lucky to get a higher placement right in time when she needed to win this category. Lastly, who had the best storyline? Here we can completely disregard Nini, because she struggled the entire season with the way that she's with the other girls, and just in general she couldn't really let loose, which She couldn't do either in episode 14. She didn't have a conclusion to her storyline. Although we could say that the conclusion here is that she did not grow enough throughout the season. And while I do love Darlene, I do think that her storyline is not really a winner storyline. She gives me the vibe of what Rue thought we would think Crystal Method was, if that makes sense. Darlene's presentation this season was never much about her personal growth or even stylistic growth. She came there and unabashedly was herself, to the point where even when the judges told her to change, she just didn't. And I love that. But that's not really a winner storyline. It's a great story, definitely, and Darlene is a great queen, maybe my favorite queen from this season, but they cannot really sell her story as like, oh, look, this is a winner storyline. She overcame these obstacles. Like, no, they gave her obstacles and then Darlene, I don't know, made her own route and stopped doing whatever they told her to do, and it worked for her. But Myki did overcome obstacles. I mentioned earlier that she was kind of invisible in the first couple of episodes of the season, and that was only slightly true. Myki was the designated confessional queen in the beginning of the season. Well, I mean, for the rest of the season as well, but like in the beginning too, even though she was just safe. Worst of all, in 2 out of the 4 challenges, she easily could have been high, had the production just slightly tweaked her presentation. In the RDR Live challenge, she could have been high for helping Juicy win. And for the Girl Groups challenge, she was clearly the best singer, and she really embodied that pop vibe that her group was supposed to have. And then, just when you thought that her comedy would be appreciated, she gets put into the bottom 2 because of her castmates. Not because of the judges or the production wanting her to be there, but because her castmates wanted to save Discord from being in the bottom 2 and possibly eliminated. And all of this happened, again, maybe because the challenge order was, changed in the season. Who knows? But after her bottom 2 placement, Myki tells us straight up, I am now going to show these queens that they should not have put me in the bottom 2, and then she goes on to have an 8-episode streak of high placements, with 4 wins. What a great comeback storyline, which should not have even been a comeback storyline. It should have been a look at this queen dominating this season alongside Jane Don't storyline, had the season gone normally, and had they not pushed for storylines for some other queens. Which, by the way, I know that I often criticize Drag Race producers in the way that they, produce the show and how they show us stories for each of the queens, but I love what they did with Jane's story this season, because we were watching it and we saw her dominate everybody, but every single week she would be shown in a not necessarily negative light, but she was constantly doubting herself. She did not have the confidence of a winner, and I kept asking myself every single week, how is Jane going to lose this season? And it really does come down to a mistake or 2 that she made, and that's it. Incredible storytelling this season. So, yes, Myki wins this category. And I think it's quite clear right now, not only by looking at these categories, but also by just watching the entire season, that Myki Meeks should win season 18 of The Masked Singer, but also of Drag Race.